Alrighty, hey guys, welcome back to another thread discussion video, and today we have some more developments in the snowballing, I guess, mega thread at this point, right? So we're going to continue on our journey. We have a lot more to go, but we're going to see what the dev has to say, what new things we can learn, and we're going to go from there. So we're probably going to do a couple more pages. I'm going to link this down below like always, and let's do it. So first we have, I guess, a question and then a dev response. So the question is, I'm making some fast campaign tests 5 years or so, and things look way better than before. On the other hand, Khazaits are still pretty much the ones deciding against which kingdom to go to war with, and having less 1v2 wars than everyone and longer peace than any other kingdom. The change you mentioned about prosperity being only taken into account in the formula is still not in place, right? So the formula, so the thing what he's talking about is pretty much AI calculates when to go to war based on prosperity of settlements. Like, that's literally all they calculate. And the dev wanted to add more things to that calculation to make it more dynamic and just a better system overall, which I agree on. And that's pretty much the system he's talking about right now. And player continues, I think that we are better than ever with this issue, and just some few things could completely fix snowballing and Khazaits being OP. Thanks. Alright, so Dev replies, I said when I realized that problem 4 or 5 days ago already, 1.5.7 was a test, so this improvement will come with 1.5.8. Here are code changes. I did not need to check how value of settlements variable is set before, because I believed it shows real value when I see its name. But when I see it, it's only bounded to prosperity. I understood that what is going on and why Khazaits face less wars. By the way, you become a pro and can understand which change is added by only looking what NPC kingdoms do as war and peace. Congrats. Okay. So here's the code. And what are we looking for here? Okay, so in 1.5.7, this was kind of how they saw the value of all settlements and how they put it into calculations. Pretty simple one. 1.5.8, you can see more was added to it. Some if statements and all that, which is cool. All right. And right over here, what is this? Okay. Alrighty, cool. What else we got? We have another player and more dev replies. Just for confirmation, if I speed up the time to the 16th instead of the 4th, it won't affect testing. Am I right? My own tests show this as okay, but maybe someone somewhere knows something different. Dev responds, 1 week ago, I see that it affected caravan death ratio. I was collecting info for what is the average death ratio per caravan, and I see that when I speed up 20 times, caravan are caught and killed more. So it can affect who to catch who, maybe. But till then, we assume that it does not affect anything major. Okay, so you're just talking about running tests and fast forward. That's not really anything the community, in terms of like new community information. But so far, in 1.5.8, we are going to see improvements to how AI calculates whether they should go to war, and also how they calculate just overall how strong the kingdom is based on the prosperity and the amount of fiefs that they do own, which is cool. All right. Next. All right, so he's talking about a mod. So this is a developer talking about a mod that we gone over in a previous video. So developer goes, I want to ask something about who uses Unfriendly territory mod. And what this mod pretty much does, for people who don't know, is it makes you faster in land that you own, like around the land that you own and around the fiefs that you own. It makes you slower in enemy territory. The dev has stated previously that this does sound like a good idea, but the problem is they don't really have like boundaries, if that kind of makes sense, right? So if you own a certain fief or a certain town, there's not like an amount of land that you own alongside it or around it, right? So pretty much what's it called? He stated that he likes the idea, but since the boundaries aren't there, since they're not defined, it probably won't get accepted. So I'm guessing he's asking more questions to see if maybe he can get it accepted. But all right. So developer says it says even Kazate take Northern Empire town Amprilla, Kazate will still get the 0.5 speed penalty when passing through the town's land. Isn't that a bit weird? How can we tell this to player? You are passing through your own town, and normally it is your territory currently, but your speed is decreasing. I understand it is done for helping Northern Empire to take this town back, but this is weird. This is weird and hard to tell player what is going on. Okay, so what he states pretty much is, I'm guessing with the mod, it's based on the starting cultures. So the Khazates are going to be faster than the Khazate starting area. The Northern Empire's kingdom's going to be faster in that section as well. So they don't change dynamically as you take a settlement. They just stay the same. So, which in a way kind of makes sense. And developers saying it would be kind of hard to explain this to a player. How a player will understand he will lose speed from passing through town X. It is seen as his own kingdom fief, but his party is losing speed. I think it's problematic. I see you're using it and like the mod, that's why I mentioned it. Second question, does this penalty only apply to armies or all lord parties? Okay. And then another player states that, personally, as an implementation of this mod, I am only interested in penalizing an army's movement over enemy ground. And developer states, yes, that makes sense. If it is implemented, maybe this can be accepted. Others are a bit problematic. Okay, so kind of, so the mod, I'm pretty sure, makes it so all parties and all armies are, slowed down in territory that's a different culture or not their starting culture, right? So dev states that this can be problematic, and then player states that, if we were to just make it armies only, which in my opinion I think armies should be a bit slower than they are, even though they're already slow. I think they should be even more slower because there's so much people, right? And I think armies should be very, very slow in my opinion. I think that would help with some things, and yeah, I agree with this. I agree that they should be slower in areas that they don't know about, and it would be cool to see if it would actually be implemented. All right, let's go to the next page. What else we got? He's talking about test results. It's nothing that important right now. What is this? So we have a question. At developer, it does seem your changes to make rebel clans not join the strongest worked well. We see no rebel clans in the Snowballed factions. Of course, we see that recruited noble clans is the opposite and they join the Snowballed faction. Also seems like the mercenary debt issue is what truly killed Vlandia in Test 2. Okay? And then developer responds, yeah, that mercenary debt issue will be fixed with 1.5.8. It is something making weakened factions poor. Also, those clans with no money leave their kingdom. This can be related. I was thinking this too. More samples are always welcome, by the way. Thanks for your test runs. All right, so a player who did a couple of test runs. He does a lot of good stuff on the forums. Blood Griffin, shout out to you. He pretty much stated that a recent change to make it so rebel clans don't just join the strongest faction. They actually join the one that's similar to their culture as they're supposed to. Actually worked, so it's working as as stated. But the problem that I think has been here since the start is most clans, noble clans, just regular clans, they usually join the strongest as the strongest start to grow. You know what I mean? They as the Khazates start to grow, whenever a clan leaves a certain kingdom, they're gonna try to join the Khazates. Almost like 90% of the time. So that is a problem. It's been a problem since the start. But again, I don't know if it's a complete problem because it kind of makes sense. You want to be on the winning team. So yeah, I don't know exactly how you would tackle that issue. But for the mercenary debt issue, if I'm not mistaken, that's the one where kingdoms, even if they're small, they're still gonna hire mercenaries even if they can't pay for it, and that should be fixed with 1.5.8. Alrighty, what else do we got? Let's go next page. We got 2 more posts. Let's go over these 2 more posts. Alrighty, so we got more test results. Here are all test results since 1.5.4, updated with 16 times 1.5.7 results. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. So as you can see, the snowball score, you want this to be as low as possible. The higher it is, pretty much means the more kingdoms are either dead, as you can see right over here, and the more kingdoms that have all the property. You want it to be more of like a number that's all close together. You want all kingdoms to kind of have, there's obviously still going to be the top dog, but he's not going to be, up 64 when the lowest only has 1 settlement, as you can see in this scenario, right? But as you can see, it was bad at 1.5.4, got a little bit better, got it way better on 1.5.6, and now just rose a little bit in 1.5.7, and probably should go down again in 1.5.8. So good to see. As you can see, the averages are a lot better. Obviously, because 8s are still on top, but it's not as bad as before. All right, actually, so the dev continues. Actually, 1.5.6 and 1.5.7 results are nearly the same. 60.4 versus 64.8. Maybe if we continue collecting 3 to 4 more samples, they can even be equal. Okay, so improvements done in 1.5.7 seems affected less, with some improvements like longer wars and XP limit changes can be neutralized developments. It's interesting because 8s have both 46 average score. Probably this can be related to luck. Normally 1.5.7, because 8's average should be less. Actually, there were no big developments in 1.5.7. Even a smaller number change, maybe mostly positive, affected. Can be reducing ratio speed bonus to 40%. So it can be normal having similar results with 1.5.6. After that finding, something reduces snowball score. Much will be harder. Okay, so what he's saying that on paper they should be, because they should have a little bit less because of the nerf from, what was it, 60% speed bonus for cavalry to 40%, but they are still similar. And he states that it's going to be harder to get it down from here because a lot of changes have already been made, and that we're currently not at a bad spot, which I think we aren't. I don't think we're at a bad spot. I think we're a lot better spot than it was before. If you played the game since launch, I think we are at a great spot. You know what I mean? I think the game is playable for a lot longer. And, yeah. So dev continues. We can do this, of course, with small additions like having more militia at settlements or less hostile actions / less wars, or adding cheap money to poor clans. They can defect less, but gameplay can be affected badly. And I have no control over troop trees. For suggestions for that. Probably I cannot change these, and I do not think they can have a major impact or effect. Okay, so what he states is we could add some more smaller additions, but they might interfere with gameplay, and pretty much what he's saying is we're just going to have to see. If something pops up, then maybe. Which I understand. Alright, so a player, then we have a dev response. So the player. One thing I noticed is that defections are random. Once Khazaites gets its hands into an imperial clan, they will suffer almost no rebellions. Rebellions help a lot to weaker factions. What if a clan can't defect to a faction who take away his initial settlements? For example, the initial owner of Deniska lost it to Khazaites and ended up owning Amprilla for Khazaites. Why would he fight for a kingdom that took his rightful land? Maybe he could defect to other empires. Okay, so I can answer this question. So he's stating, is it always the same culture? No. So when the rebellion feature came out, it's kind of weirdly worded, kind of hard to understand. But how can I explain this? The way it's explained is very weird. But it's not like if they defect from the Khazaites, but they're of Kazate culture, they're gonna go to a different culture if I'm not mistaken. It's only if, let's say, for example, you take over some land. You're not the Kazates, but you take over some Kazate fief, and then now it's your fief, but it's in Kazate land. If they rebel against you, then they will try to go back to the Kazates because it's on Kazate land and you're not Kazates. But if you are Kazate and you are under the Kazate culture, they're not going to like the Kazates anymore when they rebel. They're going to want a different culture. If that kind of makes sense. It's kind of weird how it's worded, but yeah. Let's see what the dev has to say. Actually, when a clan siege or raid or capture settlements of another clan, they lose relations, especially during capture. Owner clan also lose relationship with enemy king too. So it'll be hard for that clan to defect to the kingdom which captured the settlement previously. So if Kazate captured Northern Empire settlements, Northern Empire clans are more likely to defect to other kingdoms when they left without money and fief. This was one of the 1.5.6 Snowball fix developments. Okay. Okay, maybe he's talking about something else. Maybe I think I read it wrong. But what the dev pretty much says is, let's say, for example, if Kazates destroy, like, let's say, if they take over a couple of Northern Empire settlements, Northern Empire won't join the Kazates because they're going to have a lot of reputation loss and they're going to try to join someone else. So, there it is. And he says that's a 1.5.6 Snowball fix. There you go. Alrighty, boys, that's going to do it for me for this video. Hopefully you guys learned something. We have some interesting change. Well, not interesting. It's kind of, they're not the biggest changes, but I think they might have a good effect on wartime and overall Snowball score, which is obviously what this thread is about. And, yeah, some more changes that we're going to see in 1.5.8. I don't know personally when it's going to come out. I have made a prediction before that it's going to come out some way, I want to say about 2 weeks from now, in like the middle of February. So we're going to see if my prediction is correct or not. But hopefully this video is informative. Ask me any questions, any concerns. And like always, stay safe.